Good afternoon and welcome to our talk at the head. Thank you very much for the invitation. We are pleased to be able to give this lecture on color and its role in architecture. Hopefully we will be able, despite the physical distance, to highlight some aspects of our work which we feel are important in our approach to integrate color in the architectural process. We would like to start by briefly introducing our office and our work. Then we will take you on a tour of one of our projects where we will talk about our working methods and the spatial effect of color. We are Nora and Catherine and have been working together as a team of two color designers since 2015. This is our studio. Our main work can be divided into three areas.
Now you can change the picture.
Traditional color design, ceiling and wall paintings, and teaching at the F&F School of Art and Design and the House of Color in Zurich. The unifying element is color. In color design, we develop color concepts for architectural projects, always in relation to the context, as we will explain later. The ceiling and wall paintings set the focus in the room, are ornamental decorations, and ideally transform the room into a new dimension. In the graphic design classes and the visual design classes, the role of color is studied in a smaller dimension as a color composition, as it implemented in analog and digital creations. The three areas complement and inspire each other and our work.
Now you can change the picture.
For a more detailed discussion of our mode of work, we chose the Telhof Ensemble in Zurich for three reasons. It shows several buildings in a spatial context. It connects the inside and the outside, and it is a good example illustrating our approach and our different fields of work as well. On this map, you can see the three buildings. The large color fields are the main colors of the facades, and the small color fields are the accent colors such as window frames and soffits.
You can change the picture.
The block perimeter development Tell- and Zwinglistrasse was built in 1875. At this time, a closed construction method was used for the first time in order to achieve a higher utilization of the plots. Instead of the previous settlement structures with suburban individual houses and commercial buildings, a compact, closed development was created along the streets. Block edges with small businesses in the inner courtyard. The workers' quarters with the simple houses characterizes the new neighborhood image.
You can change the picture. On the Google Maps picture, the three buildings are clearly visible. In the middle, the courtyard building. On the left, the residential house, Tellstrasse 20, and at the bottom, the residential house, Zwinglistrasse 18. During the conversion, the adjoining courtyard building was added as a studio building. Here, you can see when I'm here with my mouse, no? Ben je verloren? Sorry. As a studio building where we are now on the ground floor. The residential building on Tellstrasse, which we started in 2016 as our first renovation project of the ensemble, is in the middle of a perimeter block development in District 4 near Langstrasse. The two houses to the left and right have not been renovated. You can change the picture. If you go closer to the building, you can see the flaking of the facade and the different building periods.
Next picture.
The balconies were added later. They now stand out against the facade in color and seems to be very heavy. Stone slabs are laid in the plinth area. We wanted to rebuild as little as possible and integrate what was already there into the new color and material concept. The idea of redesigning the interior and exterior also included revitalizing the ground floor. The shop should be used in such a way that it creates added value for the neighborhood. This building has a passageway leading through to the courtyard.
Next picture.
If you enter the courtyard, you can see the courtyard building here and the residential building at the back. The courtyard building was formerly used for small businesses and crafts. We want to keep this character even with the increase of the building. Our approach is to analyze the neighborhood. You can change the picture. We take the colors from the surrounding houses and add them to the site plan. This way we see what effect and statement we want to make with the main color on the facade. From the beginning, it was clear to us that we wanted to give the facade more presence. The house should look strong and fresh. It was also clear that the courtyard building, you see this in the middle here, should form the core of the ensemble, so it should be kept darker. The approach to a new task follows a certain path. You can change the picture. We researched the history of the neighborhood, how it has developed and how the architecture has changed. In archive photos, the front side looked dark, probably not least because of the soot from the railway station, which is very close. Whether the facades were originally all painted uniformly cannot be traced. Then we analyze the architecture inside and out. We look at what is there and think about what kind of atmosphere we want to create. We look for reference pictures like the picture of this woman here down, and the simple materialization and a color palette from the time. For the courtyard building, the old Spitze with a metallic green, or this house on the right by Valerio Olgiati, are references. The images accompany us during the work. At the same time, we gather the materials we can imagine for the floors and the walls in the bathroom and kitchen.
Next picture.
As here. And then the next picture as too. We put together color collages with the colors for the larger surface areas and the accent colors. You can see that on the next picture. We want to make a specific statement with these color tones. The color tones should be connected between the outside and the inside. We draw the facades and see what the effect is of coloring the individual components. The residential building on Tellstrasse should be kept in a light-dark contrast, a light facade with balconies and dark window frames and shutters. The front on the street side should be the same as on the courtyard side. We see the building as a body with a passageway. We also draw the spatial connection from the staircase to the flats and take up the original height of the textile again here on the picture on the right side. During the construction, you can change the picture, please. During the construction, we sample the colors and the different plaster structures together with the painter. Often we have to adjust colors in nuances again because they are not yet perfect in combination or in the color tone. We also go to the construction site to discuss the way the tiles will be laid.
Next picture, please. In this view, you can see the finished front. The light front with the dark green window frames and shutter is joined by a pale pink at the balcony soffits.
As you can see at the next picture,
which condenses into a salmon orange in the roof soffit. The ground floor is occupied by a gelateria called Tellhof in the summer, and the shop is rented out in the winter for temporary use.
The next, please.
Entering the house, one passes through the staircase into the flats. Enveloped by the darkness in the lower area, one is led upstairs. The wooden trim in light yellow has been retained and complemented with a yellow tile line on the ground floor as well as black tiles. The upper part is painted in a delicate pinkish yellow, reminding of the pink on the balcony soffits. The texture of the plaster is done with a broom and is meant to create a textile look.
The next picture.
We keep each component apart and give each one a different color tone. This creates a large space.
The next.
In the bathroom, we juxtapose matte with gloss. In the floor, the colors black, écru, sienna, light yellow, and shaded yellow are repeated and condensed. Shades that also occur in other nuances in the exterior.
The next.
The window frames are kept in the same shade on the inside as on the outside. This creates a linear pattern, and since only the sashes and paint, they do not appear too heavy. The kitchen are made of spiracolor in an aubergine brown color.
Then you can change.
The paneling color is an intensified shade of the facade.
The next.
Here is another view of the balconies where the different shades of white are also visible.
Then the next. When the renovation of the courtyard building started in autumn 2017, the house next to Tellstrasse 20 was also being renovated, as you can see here on the plan. And the street line already looks modernized. The color concept for the two courtyard buildings is intended to be a reference to the industrialization period and a reminder of their origins. The courtyard buildings forms a core in terms of its structure and design. This function is supported by retaining the character of the small business and using it as an office and restaurant in the future. While the large courtyard building picks up the color of the dark mashing green, the studio building is deprived of its color tone. The matte graphite tone allows the green to retain its individuality and, together with the accent colors of the window refills and windows, acquires a quiet colorfulness and strength of its own. The same coarse-grained plaster as on the large courtyard building is to be colored and applied here without an additional coat of paint, so that the tone and surface encompass the two houses. And then the next. The simple differentiated color and material palette strengthens the focus of the simple commercial building. Together with the light-colored wash house, here in the middle you can see all three of them. Together with the light-colored wash house as a link to Tellstrasse 20, a lively, dense center is created. The conversion of the studio building is still pending. You can see that on the next picture. But the facade has already been painted according to our proposal, except the window refills. Then the next. We think of the two courtyard buildings not only in terms of color. We also integrate the material used in our deliberations. The materials in this case should be used raw or in a raw appearance. In the case of the facade, the plaster will be colored, eliminating the top layer as a decoration. Then the next one. The structure of the lime plaster and the light cloudy appearance due to the lack of paint make the facade appear natural and light despite its rich color. And then the next. In the interior, we proceed according to the same principle, and there is only the finishing plaster as the last layer for the walls. The wooden ceiling is painted at the client's request in the same gray-black as the windows, which makes the room even calmer. 2 skylights provide additional room height and bring more light into the room, which allows the many plants to thrive as if in a greenhouse. The sockets of the skylight with their grey tone do not form an additional accent and are intended to blend in with the walls and concrete beams. The floor is a polished mastic asphalt. You can change the picture. And then again. The green roof terrace, which can be shared by the neighbors or by the neighborhood, by the neighbors, makes you forget that we are in the middle of the city with the many birds that have found an oasis here. Then you can change.
The entrance of the Airbnb is located in the pathway on the opposite side of the entrance to Telstrasse 20. Until now, it has functioned as a commercial space and is now to be converted into a guest flat or used as an Airbnb. In the middle of it all, yet hidden from the hustle and bustle of life all around, is the one-room flat on the mezzanine floor.
Here you can see the entrance and then the next picture.
We approach the color and material design of the flat with the already converted courtyard building and Telstrasse 20. In the precise, detailed material and color design, it is on the one hand an independent piece of jewelry and on the other hand also part of the whole Telhouse structure. The materials and colors are coordinated and bring each other to full effect. With the room height divided by 2 colors and the darkest color for the ceiling, the effect of the room changes. Lifted up in the flat with a view of the courtyard and the courtyard building, the green-grained flagstone floor combines with the green of the lime cement front of the courtyard building. In this way, color connections and color memories are constantly created and make the 3 buildings into a differentiated whole. Next picture, please. Here again a view from above into the courtyard and the courtyard building. The front of Telstrasse 20 is in the back and in the corner Zwinglistrasse 18 scaffolded. Next picture, please. Here 2 pictures of the front of Zwinglistrasse 18 before the renovation. Next, please. The house at Zwinglistrasse 18 is to be connected with the house at Telstrasse 20 and the green courtyard building to form a kind of a triangle. The color design of the narrow enclosed house responds to its neighborhood with 2 different sides. The color concept of the courtyard side interacts with the urban courtyard without competing with the courtyard building in terms of color. The grayish purple on the left side is a subtle reaction to the green. The house opens up toward the courtyard. I think you can, next picture please. Here you see all the colors again of the Telstrasse 20 on the left and the Zwinglistrasse 18 on the right side, with both sides. This is also reflected in the skylight adapted floor plan. The smallest room is eliminated and integrated into the area of the kitchen living room, which faces the courtyard with the large new window front and the additional balconies. Next picture, please.
No, you should go two back, please. Sorry. And one again. So you can see one. Yes, Anna. No, two back, that we can see the balconies maybe again. Yeah, perfect.
The balconies appear as a new element in which they lean against the front as a raw material. And now one more. The color scheme of the street side is derived from the color family of the facade of Teestrasse 20 and is oriented towards the armory at the end of the street. The light shade of the facade integrates into the raw and the light seemingly faded green shutters form a quite historic color statement with the ochre tone of the windows, which could well have always looked like this.
Then the next. The result is very bright and flexible flats, with balconies facing the courtyard as well as the street, and a continuous living and dining room that can be divided with the glazed sliding door. The kitchen living room can be opened almost across the entire width to the new balcony with a view of the inner courtyard, and thus becomes an extended outdoor space. The continuous grey pigmented anhydrite floor and the kitchen front made of maritime spine stand in their raw expression as a reference for the simple construction method, and at the same time create the transfer to today. A skylight window on the left picture in the bathroom brings additional light into the spacious bathroom. Here we again use the Teelish tiles that we also used for the wet rooms in the courtyard building and in the Airbnb, but here in actual colors, and the hexagonal granito floor tiles in an olive green shade. The next. If you step into the plain staircase with its original wooden floor, freshly sanded and oiled, your eyes only fall on the ceilings in front of the entrance doors as you go up. Before the renovation, the walls of the staircase were decorated with simple floral ornaments from various periods, which were lost during the renovation. In analogy to the painted decoration from earlier times, we would like to give the staircase back its grace in a new translation after the renovation. The ceiling paintings convey a sense of landscape. You can change. Color space, carpet, and free form. The four pictures, different in their essence and their radiance, characterize the separate entrance for each floor. There are 7 color tones in total, but they do not appear in every picture. The color tone forms a new colorfulness, which however picks up the color tones of the house and the ensemble in order to connect with the whole and still make its own statement.
The next picture. The shop on Zwinglistrasse was decorated with color surfaces in different shapes and 3 color tones. The intention was to break up the space with the color and shapes to create views and to bring the outside and the inside into interaction. As you can see here in this picture, the complementary red reacts to the green of the courtyard building. The 2 colors need and balance each other.
The next.
In this second picture, the color green-yellow is used at the back of the wall and also on the ceiling. Depending on the position in the room of a color, its hue changes a lot. It is important to sample the color in the right position of the room.
Then the next.
Finally, let's go back to the courtyard and look up in the sky and read the three soffits together. Paint can be placed in the most unusual places, so we go on a journey of discovery.
Then the next.
We hope that this reflection on color and surfaces and spatial effects will inspire you, your Le Corbusier project, and that you will have fun discovering and exploring color and surfaces. This is the end.
Thank you very much.
I think if somebody have questions, you can ask in French or in English, and we can do a couple of questions. If it's okay, you understand a bit of French, or?
We will make a mixture between the two languages.
Je n'ai juste pas très bien compris l'intégration du noir dans la cage d'escalier des bâtiments.
There's a person here who didn't understand why integration of black in the staircase, maybe. This project. The reason why.
The reason why black?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the dark, the color contrast between outside and inside. The outside we have the practically white for the facade with the very dark
shutters and
windows, and here it's omgekeerd. It's like
the opposite.
The opposite. The darkness. Which, was heißt dat omhullen? The darkness which takes you up.
And also, actually, it's not black. It's like there are two colors. One is underneath, and the ochre is above. So with the brush, we painted first the dark color. It's kind of a brown. On the picture, it looks a little bit black. And then with the ochre, we painted very fine on the surface of the broom stroke. So it's kind of a changing effect. That it looks like textile or yeah. And the intention was that if you enter the building, it kind of surrounds you, the dark color, and it leads you up to the apartments or to the flats. And the yellow line is to show, kind of also take you upstairs.
Yeah, thank you.
Moi, j'ai une question, pas au sujet de la couleur, mais par rapport au matériel. Les volets, c'est encore du bois ou bien c'est du métal, tous les nouveaux volets autour? Fensterladen, c'est Holz oder Metall?
Fensterladen. Actually, they are still the wooden Fensterladen shutters.
Yeah,
we didn't change them. If we can, we use the material that is there instead of changing it to another one, if they're still in good shape.
Okay, thank you.
There's a question here. What is the reason for you to work color in space? Which is a big question.
But to bring color in space, or the what?
Yeah, there's a question of one of our students asking what is the reason why you work color in space? What is your main motivation? Why did you choose to work with color in space?
Yeah, I think it's in earlier times it was always worked like that, no? And we want to break out of the form, everything white in the interiors, and make or show the different materials and give them a value.
And we believe if an apartment is just like painted in white so that people can rent it out better, it's not very interesting for the tenants. If you live in a space that is kind of colored, I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot of color, you remember better where you lived. That is one reason. And the other reason is if you give each if you give the window frames a color and the walls and the floor and the ceiling, it makes the space bigger or smaller. It gives the space more atmosphere as well, and it's not like in one kind of dusty white shade. Or you understand what I want to say?
I had a small question. You mainly showed us housing projects, which is of course involved with the notion of dwelling, but we also when it comes to projects more like public, could be museums, could be sports centers, could be schools. Do you work on those kind of projects? And if you do you have a different approach?
The context is always very important, and this is always a kind of a similar way. I would say it's to see how the place the place is. What is there? How is the development of the place? What surrounded the place? And then of the building, the character. What should it be? Who is using the building? What's the use of the building? All these thoughts we try to integrate in the process or in the project.
Yeah,
the context, the situation, and the human beings who are using the building.
And we do also schools and public buildings, because as Nora said, it's very important who uses actually, who is the user of the building. And then we, of course, it depends a lot on that.
Okay, and I have a question. Thank you for the presentation. It was very inspiring. My question is about, because you mentioned Le Corbusier, and yesterday we had a presentation with about Le Corbusier and his palette. And my question is if because actually you have a lot of experience in color, and do you have your own palette after your project by project, or you have the context is the beginning of the project? I don't know if it's clear. Or do you develop your own palette?
Like Le Corbusier had la polychromie. You mean something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. No, actually, we change always our color palette, because it, as we explained, depending on the context, on the location, on the people who live there. But I mean, there were people who said, "Oh, this must be from you because it reminds me of color you used in other projects." Of course, I mean.
But I think this is more how we we put the colors together because they are sometimes so different colors, and then if somebody comes and says, oh, this has to be you because it's so similar as the other building, and we say no, they are completely different colors, but how we use the color is maybe the Verwandtschaft, the
similarity.
Yeah.
But we always try to find something new or put like colors in combination together that we think, oh wow, now there's something happening, or there's something new happening, because we are really interested in the color combination, even if there are only 3 colors or 5 colors, it doesn't matter, but what happens if you put them together.
Also what happened with the room, or you can change the colors on different parts of the room and it changed everything. So yeah, we try to find always a new solution.
Vous avez dû montrer votre palette pour la façade à la ville, et si vous avez eu des refus par rapport aux couleurs choisies, ou si ils sont assez ouverts.
So you heard, but there's a question of one of our students who, when you have a proposal of a color or a palette of a few colors for a facade of a building, do you have to show it to the city, and if it's usually accepted or not, and if it's not, how do you adapt?
We always had luck,
Yeah.
because we want to show how we came through this solution, and because we integrate the context and we integrate the history of the house, or of this on the lieu, the location, it seems to be logical. So even if we take a lot of color, it was never a problem until now. But I think it's because we all want to show how we came to this solution. You know what I want to try to say? Mm-hmm.
I have one little question. Final, and it's the way you work, because of course you work with color, but you also work, I guess, a lot with architects who draws, I mean, the size of the plants, the size of the doors, the seating, the volume, the shape, the proportions. And how do you work with the architects? How do you sometimes intervene in the design process of the building because you say, oh, this should be higher, for instance, like the letter post or the entrance of a building? Like, how does it work? Does it come together, or you just come at the end when the whole design is already drawn?
Met de architectuur ingriffet. Yeah, it depends on the project. In some projects, we start from the beginning with the architects, and there we can bring in our thoughts and an experience, or we want to see what happens if we do this higher. But in other processes, the color concept comes when already is decided, and we only bring the material inside. So it depends. Yes, I would say it depends. Yeah.
Usually we don't interfere in the architecture if the building is already almost like very at the stadium where it's very but of course if there's something we think should be changed, we try to talk to the architects, but usually I actually don't.
Well, thank you very much for. I think we need to move on with our students. But thank you so much for the presentation. It was really inspiring. Hopefully, maybe one day we can meet in person and come also to see your work as well. It would be really great. So yeah, thank you for taking the time and for your very careful presentation. And hopefully we can keep in touch.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
great.
would be great.
Thank you. And so good luck with your project.
good
And
luck.
it'd be good to see what happened.
Yeah, of course. We'll send you some pictures.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
perfect.
Cool.
So have a good time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.